Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Laramie and this is Theo, and today we are doing a Ravelry pattern dump. I am having one of those moments where I just want to cast on to a bunch of new projects and abandon all the projects I've already started. Even though I'm really excited to have those projects, I feel like I'm in a dopamine seeking mindset where I'm like, you know what's really fun, what you really like doing? Doing something new, like trying on something new, casting on something new. Who needs to just go through what you're already doing? Let's cast on something new. So instead of doing that, to help control that like desire to just cast onto a bunch of new things without any forethought or pre-planning, or understanding of how the heck I'm going to get all my projects done, I have created a bundle in Ravelry called my pattern dump number 1. And this is my Ravelry pattern dump where I have put 12 patterns that I really want to cast onto, but I know I need to sit with for a while because do I really want them, or am I just seeking the dopamine or the serotonin of casting on to something new? And so today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk you through all of those different patterns that I'm really excited to knit but need to wait on, and we have been abandoned by Theo. That's sad. I am wearing a pair of my own socks. It is Sunday. I am in comfy clothes. I just got done filming a video creating stitch markers. I don't know if that's going to come out before this video comes out. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just going to walk through, and I don't have all these memorized, so I'm going to be looking down a lot. But I'm going to walk through each of these patterns. I'll put them up on the screen. I'll also link them down below if you are ready to cast on. No shame if you are. Please do so. There is really not a lot of structure here. I have clothing, decor, and one other item, like an accessory item. So I'll probably start with clothing, and I'm going to start with the item that I want to cast on the most, the item that kind of prompted me to create this video instead of casting on randomly. So that is the Be Thankful cardigan. So item number 1 is the Be Thankful cardigan. So this cardigan is a Aran weight cardigan. It is by, Lily Kate France. It is a paid pattern, but it is just this, I love this pattern. I want to make this I just purchased some knit and crochet Cloudpaca yarn, and I want to knit, I have a blue color of it that I really want to knit this in. But here's the deal. The reason that I can't cast onto this, besides having a bunch of other things to cast onto, I've never knitted a cardigan before. I also, when I swatched that Cloudpaca yarn, I swatched it in the round and not flat, so my gauge could be different. I also need to decide if I really want to knit something bottom up, because this is an oversized one-piece seamless short row bottom up pattern with a drop sleeve and a puff sleeve. I love this pattern. It is worked flat and in the round. I am guessing the flat piece is the body and the round is the sleeves. It also uses needle sizes that I did not swatch with. So there's a lot of things that need to go into this. I need to do some swatching. I need to evaluate if I am ready to do a bottom up in the flat cardigan construction. So all that to say, not ready to cast onto this, but this is the one that I had to actively talk myself out of casting onto. And I ended up casting on, I have a lot of that Cloudpaca yarn. I ended up casting onto just a top-down raglan that I think I'm looking at that cast on because I didn't talk myself out of casting that one on. I'm looking at that as a trial pattern because I think I'm going to knit my mama sweater in that same yarn, but I want to test it out first on myself and then let her try it on and see if she likes it, if she likes the fit, if she likes the yarn, while also still creating a garment for myself. So that's what I'm going to do. But I also wanted to cast on this. So I feel even though I lost the battle with whether or not I should cast on that garment, I won, and I have not casted onto this item yet. And I think I need to finish, at least one of my other sweaters before I decide to take on this challenge, because this is going to be a challenge. This will be a new construction style for me. Number 2 is the Keep It Warm sweater. This sweater, I'm not like feeling a super big impulse to cast it on, but there is a part of me when I'm in that, like, I need some joy, I need some like instant gratification. This is the one that I really want to cast onto. This again is the Keep It Warm sweater. This is by the designer Yan Hua Li, and then again, probably pronouncing that incorrectly, so I apologize. She has these beautiful cable patterns, and they're so delicate. I just clicked on her name, and there's another sweater here called the Sweater Stern Bluette that I would love to have that one too, but we don't need to talk about that one right now. We're talking about this one. So the Keep It Warm sweater is a DK weight sweater. It is knitted. It's oversized petite plus. There's cables, there's eyelets, it's textured, it's seamless, top down short rows. So other than having cables, this is it looks like a raglan. I don't know if I said that. It does look like a raglan construction, based on the way the sleeves are attached. But that intricate cabling, the only thing here that I'm not like already comfortable with and have done is the cabling and the like eyelet lace look. But I freaking love this sweater. This is actually when I didn't use Ravelry for like the first month of knitting because I was overwhelmed by that concept. I wasn't ready to pay for patterns because I was still in that mindset of like, I don't think this is going to be a long-term hobby. So why would I spend money on patterns when there's plenty free online? Why would I download something? But when I did eventually download Ravelry and I went with the paid app so that I didn't have to deal with ads, this is, I think, the very first sweater that I pinned. Like, this came up on the Hot Right Now page and I fell in love with the sweater. The only changes I would make if I was making this sweater is I would probably make the sleeves, like the cuffs, really tight. I like a balloon sleeve, like not an oversized balloon sleeve, but a good balloon sleeve. So I think I would do that. I wonder if I can record my screen. Probably can. I don't feel like it's necessary for this. I will show you what all of this looks like. So that's sweater number 2 or item number 2. I have yarn that I could use for this, and so that's why it's a constant impulse to cast on. All right, the next item that I would love to cast onto right now is the bloom pullover. This is the third item on the list, but this is the second item that I almost casted onto. And in fact, I actually gauge swatched for this. So the bloom pullover is by, Brianna Mason. It is a beautiful sweater. I love the color work. It is stranded color work. It is a like circular yoke pattern. It is, I believe you cast onto, I think it's contiguous where you cast onto the neck first and like you do the yoke before you go back and do oh, maybe it's not. Okay, forget what I say that. It is top down in the round and seamless, but instead of a raglan, it is a circular yoke. And it is short rows, and you're doing German short rows for the neck shaping. But it has stranded color work, and that is the part I would have casted onto this sweater if it weren't for the stranded color work. I've never done stranded color work before, and so when I picked up this yarn, I sat down and I swatched it. The yarn she actually knitted the sample for this pattern in is Knit and Crochet Cloudpaca, which is the yarn that I have. And I just started doing a gauge swatch. I did the gauge swatch of a solid color and I got gauge, which was really cool. I don't know that I've ever just like gotten gauge with the needles and the yarn recommended and like actually had the same gauge as the person who knitted the pattern. But when I attempted to do the gauge swatch with the stranded color work, like I tried to do one of those flowers, I think I casted onto it and tried to redo it maybe 6 times. And I realized that alpaca is just way too slippery of a yarn for me to start learning how to do stranded color work with. I'm also a thrower So I hold my yarn in my right hand and I do pretty much everything with my right hand. And I couldn't figure out how to hold 2 strands of yarn with both my right hand, like both in my right hand. So I tried to do one right-handed, one left-handed. And like, you know, as you're like using both hands, so you're throwing and flicking to get that yarn on there. And I just realized with the slipperiness of alpaca yarn and my like lack of skill, and I was using metal knitting needles, I don't think I'm ready yet to do this sweater. And it was a really good gut check having done that gauge swatch 6 times and never being able to like figure out how to do it. Now I am very much a believer that if you can knit and purl, you could make anything, but I also think that yarn choice and needles go into it as well. So I think I need to learn color work using less slippery yarn. Like the Eddie Bauer Woolpaca is not very slippery. I could also try it with Fisherman's Wool from Lion Brand. That's not slippery at all because it's not a superwash wool. It's just a regular wool. I think I need to start learning color work there, get that like muscle memory and like the ability and like the knowledge base there before trying to do this. And I could probably knit this in a different material and have better luck. But again, I don't need to be casting on to a color work project right now, but I'm eventually going to make myself this sweater. I'm promising myself that because I just like keep staring at the like floral motif that's happening here and I'm in love with it. So I think this designer has some beautiful sweaters and this is one that I want to cast onto. All right. I'm taking deep breaths because when I get excited and I talk fast, I don't breathe. So here we go. Okay. Item number 4 is a t-shirt. This is the Moonset tee. This is like your classic high V-neck t-shirt with a drop shoulder. It is a, let's see, let me scroll. This is a fingering weight t-shirt, which does not scare me. I'm actually knitting a fingering weight t-shirt right now. And I'm actually kind of enjoying the process. I don't think I would want to make an entire sweater out of it, but a t-shirt, that is reasonable. It is a provisional cast on, worked flat and in the round, short row shaping, I-cord edging, and then it is designed by Ozetta, which is Haley Smedley. And she's got a lot of beautiful patterns. She's got some beautiful sweater patterns. I love some of her cardigan patterns, and I've pinned a lot of her sweaters. But this is the one that I'm like, I could cast on this right now. I have fingering weight yarn. I do not have the fingering weight yarn that I would want to knit this in. She has knitted it with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I don't know if I would do it in silk. I don't know much about silk. But I would probably do it in like a cotton linen bamboo blend of some kind. So you get that like lightweight flowy fabric, but also a little bit more structure. I don't know. But that's no item number 4 that's really calling to me. Not a lot to say about that. I just think it's cute. Item number 5 is the Adamson. And this is, you could wear it as a tank top. You could wear it as a sweater vest. I think most of the ones in here, she's got models both in a tank top and sweater vest style. This is another one that I have pinned and have had every intention of knitting since the day that I downloaded Ravelry. It is designed by Rui Yamamuro. Again, this is the Adamson. It is a worsted weight, top down, worked flat and in the round. And it looks like, it doesn't say anything about short row shaping, but I'm guessing that comes in just because I've never knit a sweater vest, so I don't know how the neck shaping happens when you have a sweater vest, but I'm guessing you don't have to do short rows technically because it's a V-neck. You're bringing that up in the back naturally, so there's a lot less like neck shaping that probably has to be done because that's just like the construction of the garment doesn't need it. But I love this. It's got those, the fabric she made this like lavender one in is exactly what I want. Like I want that exact garment. It is so like lightweight and soft looking. The delicate eyelet like V shape in the front is just gorgeous. And I like it both as a sweater vest and as a tank top. So this is definitely something I'm going to cast on to eventually, but man, I'm kind of obsessed with this. And I like that it's worsted, so it should knit up pretty quickly. I just have to figure out my gauge in the round and flat and make sure that like I don't need to size up or size down when I switch, so that, you know, it looks like a consistent knitted fabric without a line where I'm switching from in the round, from working flat to in the round. But that is item number 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Item number 6 is the last top. This is the mixed rib cami. This is by Florence Miller. You've heard me talk about Florence Miller on this channel before. I think she's a fabulous designer. I love her YouTube videos. She's just an adorable human of which I would love to be friends with. So if you ever happen to watch this, Florence, let me know. I'd love to be your friend. But she has all these beautiful patterns. She's the one who does the step-by-step sweater and the step-by-step cardigan. And those are free patterns, and she walks you through them on her YouTube channel. Like, this woman is amazing. But I want to knit specifically her mixed rib cami. I think this would be, it's high neck. It's got a beautiful ribbing across it. It is light fingering weight, which means it would be a little bit of a project, but it is still like, there's not a whole lot of fabric there. So I think I would be comfortable doing it in a light fingering weight. Like, her needles are small, but they don't look super small. It is knitted flat and in the round, and it looks like top down. I-cord edging, twisted stitches. Yes, top down, seamless. Boat neck. I think it's beautiful. So this is one that I'm absolutely going to knit. And I love the color that she knitted in. It looks amazing on her skin tone. I don't know if that color would look that good on my skin tone, but honestly, I don't care. I think the color is pretty. All right. That was item number 6, the mixed rib cami by Florence Miller. Somebody's running outside because it's beautiful, and Theo just thinks that's terrible. So he's thinking about having a fit. But I think he's going to control himself. Okay. So then that is everything for, like, that's almost all the wearables. The next wearable is I'm not going to know how to pronounce this, but I believe it's the Boudica or Boudica socks. But wow. All I have to say about this is those cables are glorious. I don't know how to do cables. I've never done cables before, but, and maybe it's just oh, it is cables. Okay. I was saying maybe it's just ribbing or like a pearl and knit texture, but no, it is definitely cables. So this is something that I have not done cables yet. And I think maybe the place to start cables is not a fingering weight project like a sock. So I will probably hold off on this one for quite some time. Even though I'm comfortable with sock knitting now, I am not comfortable with cables because I've never done them before. And I certainly don't want to start with a beautiful pattern like this that is so tedious. This sock pattern is by, I realized I didn't say that, Robin E. Johnston. And her profile picture is adorable lamb. So there's that. She's got a couple other really cute patterns. It looks like she's got sailor bears and 2 other sock patterns, but this is the one that really catches my eye. I am nowhere near being ready to knit this. I just, like, if I had a lot of audacity, maybe if it was summer and I wasn't in school, I would, you know, go on the journey of learning how to knit cables just so that I could knit these specific socks. All right, and that Keep It Warm sweater, because that's also cabled. Item number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Item number 8. We're now moving on into the like home decor, office decor section of the video. We have the plot twist wall hanging. This is a wall hanging that the designer sells made on Etsy, it looks like. But this wall hanging is specifically for your knitting needles. This is for your circular knitting needle collection to help organize and hold that. And at first I was using this bag and I was just putting all of my like all of my, not interchangeable, I don't have an interchangeable set. I was just putting all of my knitting needles into my circular knitting needles back into the package they came in and storing them in a little bag. And it was working really well until my collection of I keep saying interchangeable, until my collection of circular knitting needles grew substantially. When I started knitting 2 at a time on different needles, I had to get double the needles for every project. I also, for sweater knitting, I bought like 40-inch cables, or like needles with 40-inch cables, needles with 32-inch cables, and so forth, before I learned how to properly do magic loop. So now I only buy the 40mm or 40-inch cabled needles. So I just, they're kind of out of hand, and I would love to be able to display them so that I can look through them a little better. So my thought is something like this, like the plot twist wall hanging. If you didn't want to knit this, you could, I believe you can go to Etsy and you could buy it from the designer completely made. I would like to knit my own since I am capable. It also isn't a little eyelet project. It looks like there may be, well, let me pull it up a little bigger. I don't think those are cables. I just think that's that's just a lace, and then it looks like she's strategically doing like twisted stitches and purling in order to make that unique pattern. But frankly, like, even the layout doesn't super matter to me. I just need to be able to put my needles in it. So I'm probably going to make this eventually. It is a worsted weight yarn. You probably use whatever yarn you have on hand. The bigger the yarn, the larger the pattern, or like the more stitches you cast on, the larger the wall hanging. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think this designer is brilliant. I suppose I should tell you what this designer's name is. This designer, her name is, and I just made an assumption. I just assumed that the designer was going to be a she. I was correct. It's Becky Clowers, but that was shame on me for making assumptions. But she has other wall hangings, and so I may do like the Sip Sip Hooray one, which I will also like pop up here and show you. But they're all very similar. Basically, it's not necessarily this particular pattern that I want to knit. I want to knit a wall hanging for my circular knitting needles. That's the vibe. That was item number 8. I'm not doing very good at keeping track of this. Item number 9 is going to be the alphabet wall hanging. This is just a wall hanging with letters on it. It is super bulky weight. It is super cute. They put pom-poms. I probably wouldn't put pom-poms on mine. I would just have it like my name or Theo's name or my first and last initials. I don't know. I want my entire home and my office to be decorated in my craft. And so I thought this would be a fun way to like bring in knitting into my office or into my like home decor. And I don't know what letters I would do. Maybe I would write like statistics, because I teach statistics. I would write like all the letters for statistics and put it on like a banner and hang it up in my office, because I'm, committed to the craft. This designer also has a rainbow roll neck jumper that I just saw that I don't need to cast onto. It's super bulky, which I don't love, but I love the rainbow. I'll pop a picture up here, but damn, okay. This is making me want to cast on things more. I don't know that the intention of this video was to info dump on you about these patterns I want to cast on in order to control myself so that I don't cast them on. I don't know that it's working. This alphabet wall hanger, did I tell you who it was by? I don't think I did. This alphabet wall hanger is by Lauren Aston Designs. It's adorable. It looks like she's got a lot of color work, a lot of bright colors, a lot of beautiful, like oversized. She loves her bulky yarn, her like chunky yarn. So, if you're into that, she seems like a beautiful designer for that. I am to an extent. I get a little overwhelmed if I'm wearing, like, if the clothing that I'm wearing is super, super bulky. It's kind of why I like summer, because you don't have to wear all these bulky layers. But this is beautiful. So that was item number 9. Item number 10 is going to be this Read Banned Books banner. I really want this for my home and for my office because I don't think we should be banning books. I also just want this pattern because I also want to write other things on banners, and I think it would be a really great statement. I don't know. I think it would be a great way to learn how to knit letters into something as well. Pretty straightforward. It is stranded color work, so I would get to work on my stranded color work, which as of right now I am terrible at. And this is by Annie Lupton. And she's got a lot of beautiful patterns, but the Reed Band Books one is probably the one that like jumped out at me immediately as like, I need that in my house somewhere. Item number 11. Yeah, we're getting there. Item number 11 is a blanket. This is one of the first blankets I ever pinned. I ever saved on Ravelry. This is the first, yeah. So when I was knitting, I started knitting a blanket. And if you've seen my 2024 knits video, you know that I'm still knitting that blanket. While I was knitting that blanket, I came across this one, and I would love to have this blanket, but I am probably never going to make this blanket, at least not in a full size. I may make it as like a crib blanket for someone, or a like very small lap blanket, or just like a little blanket for my niece to carry around since she loves to like just drag around a blanket. But I am not making this full size. And that's because the Super Easy Baby Blanket in Morning is the yarn that this designer used for this. This is a free pattern, so there's that, but it is a DK weight blanket. I never want to make a DK weight blanket. I feel like that would just take ages, like so long. All right. Well, I don't remember what I was saying, but love this blanket, but DK weight makes me nauseous thinking about making a DK weight blanket. But okay, the thing that calls me to this is all of the different colors of this yarn, like the like very beautiful rainbow. I would want the whole entire rainbow. I love this like green sage-ish bluish like robin's egg color with the orange and the yellow. Oof, I love it. So even if I don't knit this blanket, which I'm probably not going to, I may use this as inspiration to knit like a color work or like a striped, like a chunky striped sweater, just because I really love the way these colors are. And I may use this yarn. It's Purl Soho's Morning yarn type. And oh, the colors are just so beautiful. It's like my favorite like genre of color. And I would just buy a few skeins of all the colors and just do like a whole rainbow moment. I love it. So that is the Super Easy Baby Blanket in Morning. It is by, it's by Purl Soho, which makes sense why it's a free pattern and why it's talking about Purl Soho yarn. But yes, free pattern. I want that blanket. I don't want to knit it in DK weight yarn. All right, the final item that I want to cast onto, and this is another more like, in general, I want to cast onto a bag, not necessarily this bag, though I love this bag, and I think this would be a really good introduction into knitting cables. This is the cable knitting pouch, and it is another free pattern. It looks like only 3 people have made it, and there's not a lot of information on it. The designer is With Wool Studio, and the designer doesn't have any other patterns either. And I have not downloaded this. I don't know what the pattern looks like, but I love this bag. I like the shape of it. I think it's so cute. I love the cables. And so I may take a look at this pattern and see if it's approachable, if it's written in a way that I think I can learn how to do cables on it. Otherwise, like, this kind of just is a stand-in for, I would love to make a bag around this size to like carry some of my knitting projects in, or use as like a purse essentially. So that's the last bag that I have, or the last item that I have for you. Those were the 12 items that I just really want to cast onto right now. I do feel a little bit more in control of myself, so there's that. Yeah, I'm not a monogamous knitter. I am currently, to give you like a breakdown of what I'm doing right now, I have my February socks that I'm currently knitting, which it is March 2nd, I believe. So, you know, they're not done. I'm still like solidly up here in the ankle. Haven't even made it through the heel or the foot yet. Like I said, the goal was to knit 12 socks this year, but I'm okay if I don't. I'm learning. It's fine. I have the gray sweater that I'm loving. I've made it to the body. I'm starting to knit the body. I'm probably like 1.5 inches in the body. Several more inches to go. and then the sleeves. I just cast it onto a fingering weight t-shirt that I'm knitting for this summer as a summer wear. Excuse me, and I'm using a James Watts pattern for that, but I am heavily modifying it just because I'm not really like for me, I don't think a eyelet pattern is going to be something that I'm going to wear a lot. Also, I just really struggled doing the eyelet pattern, so I decided I would just knit it in just a solid stockinette stitch. And then I've also cast it onto that sweater that I mentioned, which is a heavily modified version of both that floral pattern that I showed you, the bloom sweater, and the Grace sweater. I'm like combining those patterns, and I'm doing a lot of improvising to make it my own, which is why I'm knitting that sweater for me before I try to knit it for my mom. But so that's the 3 sweaters and a pair of socks that I have on my needles right now, and that is not including all of the other projects that are currently in limbo, like my work in progress sweaters from last year. I've got some hats that I still want to get done. I'm still working on some gloves. I never finished those for my boss. There's just, I have too many projects, and I'm excited about all of them. And so the last thing I need to do is make it even harder for me to finish the ones that I'm like halfway through or have already started. Like, why would I cast on to another project, Laramie? Why would you do that? So I think what I'm going to do, my plan of attack, is from now on, anytime that I get the irresistible urge to impulsively cast onto a project, like not something that I've thought about and planned on and then cast it on. Like, I just want to like find yarn, hope it works, pay for the pattern, and cast on all in the same day without much forethought. I think I'm going to make one of these videos, and it might vary how much or like how many patterns I talk about each time, but I think this is going to be my plan of attack. This is how I'm going to prevent myself from impulse casting on to a bunch of patterns. I don't know if this will work, but I do feel better having all these collected into a collection, having got to talk about them to you today. I think that definitely satisfied some of that urge. My like desire to impulse cast on all these is a bit satiated. And now I kind of want to go knit my February socks. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, let me know if you have any patterns you want to impulsively cast onto. Otherwise, I will see you next time. You guys have a great day. Oh, I suppose I should say this now that I'm a YouTuber. Like and subscribe if you like it and you want to. All right, bye. Theodore? Theo, is that entirely necessary, sir? Yeah, you tell them. You tell our neighbors that they're not allowed to walk their dogs. Yep. How dare she care about her dogs and take them on long walks? All right.